Yeah, hello everybody. How you all doing? It's Tuesday. It's the 2nd of November 2010, and it's in the morning here in Ireland, and it's very dull and looks like it's going to rain. I think it'll probably rain the rest of the day by the look of things. I hope everybody's keeping well. I want to thank everybody for the last lots of comments. There was a lot of serious comments. What I did was I put up my little agenda for a better society, and it only contained 10 points because I had a lot of other points that I wanted to put into it, but I just put those 10 up as a starting point. And what we'll do is, I think in a few months time, because a few people raised other very relevant points and some points that I think are of great importance, so what we'll do is we'll restructure the whole agenda, and it'll probably end up with maybe key points relating to about 15 or 20 items. Alright? That we could change society dramatically if we introduced these changes, and they're just legislative changes. That's all they are. But of course, it's the old story. The chances of changing them under any government, Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, or otherwise, would be pretty slender. Okay, certainly the key ones. I just want to do this video today, and I just want to deal with two things. I want to hopefully. I'm not going to labour it. The first thing I want to deal is one of the emailers sent me an email, and he referred me to a blogging site in Ireland called BOARDS.IE, and this site, you can have a look at it. I've put a link up to it there at the end, you know, in the little link section, and basically it's a blogging site. Now I know nothing about these blogging sites. I think, to be honest, the overall design of the thing, what can I say? It's there, it's people talking to one another, but when you go onto it, as you'll see, a lot of it is one-line stuff, pretty basic and pretty senile, and not even senile. It's babyish. It's in the extreme. That's what it is. Babyish. It's all these sort of soundbite ripostes to everything, you know, and nothing is really, that I can see, is ever drawn out and discussed at any length. Anyway, I'm the first one, if anybody challenges me politically in what I believe, please bring on constructive criticism. I welcome them, but I don't like smart arses, and I don't like people setting themselves up as gurus and trying to level personal criticisms at me, because these people know nothing about me. Alright? I just want to quote from two people, and they seem to be gurus on this site. As I say, the vast bulk of people seem to be just ordinary people, and some of them are interested in what I have to say. That's how it came up. They started posting my videos on the site. The political point, I have a little political section on this site, and they started posting my videos. And the gurus, you know, the smart people, you know, all those smart people I told you about, they of course couldn't find anything wrong with what I said, so they started to attack me personally. And there's two of them in particular. A fella called Studio Rat, and he joined in 2007, and he's put up 4,000 posts. So he's put up about 30 posts per week approximately on this site. So he's a pretty active blogger, and he basically puts me down as being either a member of or a fellow traveller. He said this on the 26th of October 2010. He either put me down as being a member of or a fellow traveller of the official IRA Stroke Workers Party. So I just want to tell him I would be very careful what I say. It's all right to say this behind an anonymous, you know, name, Studio Rat, etc. And I don't care what you think about me. I've nothing to do with any IRA. I've nothing to do with any Workers' Party. I've nothing to do with any provisional IRA. Nothing to do with any Sinn Féin. I've made this abundantly clear many times. But I just make you wary of what you're saying. That's all. And I have another fella called, he says what they do. They can't attack you. So it's all personal asides they make. And the other great thing they do is, if they can't attack you on this, they move it over to this within a sentence, and they start attacking you on a completely different thing, which you never mention. I'll give you an example. I spoke about James Fitzgerald, and he started talking about his son, Lord Edward Fitzgerald. I mean, what has that got to do with anything? I'm talking about one man. He starts talking about his son. Next we move on to a guy called Meglom, and he joined this blog site in 2000, and he's posted 5,000 blogs, which is only about 10 a week. So he accused me of lying, and the reason he accused me of lying is, imagine this, he accused you of being a liar. In the second last video, when I was talking about James Fitzgerald and about him being one of the biggest slavers in the world, I put up a photograph, and the photograph was of Leinster House. Now I'm going to put you up the front of Leinster House now, and you'll see why I did what I did. This is the front of Leinster House. So when you stand at the top of Moultrie Street, Kildare Street Junction, and you look into Leinster House, this is what you see. And as you can see, it's what's called a facade. It's the front of the building. But the actual Leinster House complex is a huge complex. And I showed the back of it, that there. And the reason I showed the back of it is, if you can see, there are hundreds of rooms. Whereas the front, when you look at the front, you can only see 20 rooms. You actually see 20 rooms, and I think there's 10 attics above it, above the rooms where the servants were. So, and it didn't give you an idea of the grand ducal aspect of this whole, because it was a palazzo, the whole Leinster House concourse. It was a giant palazzo, and that's the back of it there. That's in Upper Merrion Street. But obviously Meglom doesn't know that, or he chooses not to know that. So what he did was, of course, he invited everybody to go and look at the front of Leinster House. I chose people to go to look at the back of it, to see the grandeur of it and the splendour of it, and see the wealth and the size and the wealth, as I say, the total wealth available to this man James Fitzgerald. That's the only point. So that's what you're up against. It's the whole thing is just bizarre. It's like you know, conducting a debate. It's infantile stuff. It's conducting a debate round. The man didn't put the comma in, and he couldn't spell that word properly. Ergo, his whole the direction of his whole argument is fallacious. I mean, it's just baby stuff. I mean, you could never conduct a debate like that. So anyway, that's the makeup of BOARDS.IE, and these are the standards set by the political gurus within it. These two guys are gurus within this. You can see that. They dominate the thought, the threads to a large extent that are in this. So I will not be conducting any debates within BOARDS.IE or anywhere near it. I wish them all the best, and I hope they do continue to have political discussions, because that's how we learn. Well, you learn nothing from one-liners and flipping to sides. That's as I say, that's infantile response. You can only learn something when you dissect it and take it apart and analyse it and discuss it and think about it. That's how you learn, and you should not be afraid to do that. And when somebody comes along and challenges your view, you should welcome them, especially if it's rational. Especially if he sounds rational and he sounds like he knows what he's talking about. Anyway, the next thing I want to talk about, because it's not directly connected, but it is in many ways, and it's to do with our student body. And tomorrow our student body throughout Ireland is going to march on Dáil Éireann. So this is United Students of Ireland, or the Union of the Students of Ireland, USI it's called. And I'm told from a site, and I quote the site, it's a European site governing European students, that there is a total of between 78,000 plus students, third level students in Ireland. And they are expecting tomorrow 20,000 on this march. And this march is going to take from Parnell Square down to Dáil Éireann, down to Leinster House, that house there. Except it'll be to the front of that house, okay? Because that's where they all go in. All the members of Parliament, RTDs, go in and out. Anyway, the bottom line about it is they expect 20,000 people, and it's going to be it's going to be a litmus test of the cohesion and care that Irish students as a whole, because out of a student body of the estimate is, as I say, 78,000. It's probably a lot more, but if they cannot get 20,000 students out, I don't deem it to have been much of a success. But that's just me. That's just my humble opinion. I think it will be a sad reflection, because these people are the future. That's who they are. Now, if they're not prepared to get up off their arse and just engage in a march and a demonstration to show their solidarity with one another over the main thing, by the way, that they're going to be protesting about, that I can see, is that the registration fees are going to be doubled next year. They're going to be increased from €1,500 per annum to €3,000. So what that essentially means is, it's the old story. It's going to be education for the upper middle classes. And working class people, or people from an underprivileged background, from a disenfranchised background, they will have no education. So that's the situation that we're in. So tomorrow will be a big day for the student body of Ireland, and let's hope they live up to it. Let's hope just for once they get off their arse and stop thinking about where they're going to be stuffing cocaine this weekend, instead of it, whether or not they're going to be stuffing it up their nose or up their bum. And they get off their arse and do something constructive for themselves, if not for our little country. Because I tell you one thing, based on reading the student bodies, the student element within that BOARDS.IE, and believing what I believe about how many of them will turn out tomorrow, I hold little future. I hold little in the way of future for our country. I really do. I think it's sad. I think it's really, really sad. Anyway, I won't pass any total judgment until I see what happens tomorrow. As I say, it's going to be a litmus paper day tomorrow. It's going to be a big test for the students, the third level students, the intelligentsia, the future smart people of Ireland.